Number 17, f of x equals 1 over x plus 1, g of x equals 3x. Determine the formula and domain for both. Composition of f of g of x. F composed of g of x. So what this f composed of g of x means is f of g of x. So it means you take g of x and plug it into f of x. So I take g of x and I plug it into f of x. So we'll take g of x and we'll plug it into f of x. 1 over 3x plus 1. That's the formula for it. Domain. Domain. You have to watch out about, well, in particular, what do you have to watch out about for here, for domain in general? What can't you do with numbers? You can't take a square root of a negative. You can't have 0 on the bottom. So this is a little bit trickier though because it's a composite function. You have to look at, what happens here to give me outputs that screw things up over here. And in this case, you don't have to worry about anything about g of x. G of x can handle anything, but f of x can't handle everything. It can only handle, it can handle anything but what? What? -1, right? Okay, it can't handle -1. So here's the idea, is that what number would you put into g of x to give you -1? And in a sense, you just take the bottom and set it equal to 0 in this case. Where would 3 of x be equal to -1? At 1/3, -1/3. So the domain of this composite would be all real numbers except -1/3. So I guess negative infinity to -1/3, u it out as such. If I put -1/3 into g of x, I get -1. And when I plug -1 back into here, I get 0. So that's how you find the domain of these dudes. You have to watch out individually. So let's do it backwards. Let's do the other one now. G composed of f. So this time you're putting f of x into g of x. So you're putting f of x into g of x. F of x is this big dude. So you're plugging that into this. So I'm going to write this as 3 times 1 is just 3 over x plus 1. So there's my formula for it. And what would the domain be? You can't have -1, right? First thing is you can't put a -1 into this. After that, you can put anything you want into g because it's just timesing it by 3. So -1. So negative infinity to -1. So this changes, right? It's not the same domain. It's not the same formula. If you change it from f composed of g to g composed of f, these are different beasts altogether. They give you different answers. So formula and the domain. Y'all remember how to take the inverse on number 18? Change out the q of x for a y, and then what do? Switch out the other dudes and solve for y. So multiply by 4, subtract 7, 4x minus 7. How do you get rid of that power of 5? multiply it by 1/5 or take a power of 1/5? Okay, so there's two ways you can write it. You can write it as a power of 1/5 or as a fifth root. You can write it both ways. So either way would work. So the inverse of q of x is fifth root of 4x minus 7. Gosh, there's a bunch of gibberish on here. I'm sorry. The idea is you switch out y and x, and you solve for y. That's it. That's the basic idea.